The Western, politically conformed leading media miss no opportunity to vehemently criticize the Russian president, Vladimir Putin. Although Putin is, according to recent surveys in Russia, more popular than ever before, which even Swiss radio and TV station SRF had to admit on October 6, 2015, he is constantly being accused of abusing his power. One accusation never fails to be mentioned and is repeatedly being brought up. Russia supposedly annexed Crimea, meaning illegally taking it, and like this started a war in Ukraine. That is what German East European historian Karl Schlögl claimed, for instance on Swiss radio SRF on October 2, 2015. In several of our broadcasts, KlaTV referred to the counter-statements which refute this accusation. Due to its current relevance, we summarized the most important counter-voices here in this broadcast. First, concerning the accusation that Russia started the war in Ukraine by annexing Crimea. The military conflict in East Ukraine started in Kiev after the revolution there in February 2014. After overthrowing the president Viktor Yanukovych on February 22, 2014, the new government ordered troops to the eastern cities Donetsk and Lugansk. These areas did not accept the nationalist-coined government power transfer and proclaimed their independence as people's republics. According to diverse historians, the USA was behind the coup. Victoria Nuland, representative of the US foreign minister, unintentionally made public in an intercepted telephone call that the USA invested $5 billion to put a new government in power in Ukraine. However, Yanukovych's overthrow was clearly an unconstitutional coup. According to Article 108 of the Ukrainian Constitution, removal from office is only allowed in case of resignation, of death, for health reasons, or through an impeachment. The three-quarter majority in the parliament, which is necessary for an impeachment, was not reached, despite invalid illegal multiple votes. Consequently, the unconstitutional government overthrow must be seen as the trigger of war in eastern Ukraine. The course which the crisis in Ukraine has taken, together with various counterstatements, can be found in other KlaTV broadcasts on the topic Ukraine crisis. Second point, concerning the accusation that Russia has annexed Crimea.
Karl Albrecht Schachtschneider, professor and doctor of law, summarized his detailed investigations of whether this is about an illegal annexation or about a legal integration of Crimea as follows. The right to self-determination of the citizens of Crimea cannot be repealed by international agreements or by the Constitution of Ukraine. Crimea had and has the right, as autonomous republic, to go its own way and to separate itself from Ukraine. The support from Russia for Crimea's integration process was proportionate and no breach of international law. The United Nations Charter, Chapter 1, Article 1, Paragraph 2, says in relation to international security as follows, I quote, "It is the purpose to develop friendly relations among nations based on respect for the principle of equal rights and self-determination of peoples." End of quote. This right to self-determination, by the way, of the peoples, not for the countries, is what the citizens of Crimea made use of through the peaceful referendum on March 16, 2014. The population voted with over 96% for the accession to the Russian Federation. This request by Crimea was consequently accepted by Moscow, which is not contrary to international law, according to a professor of law, Dr. Reinhard Merkel, and expert for international law. This was accepted worldwide for Kosovo some years ago as well. The separation of Crimea from the state entity Ukraine was not against international law, but at most against the Ukrainian constitution. It remains outstanding after the unconstitutional coup d'etat in Kiev to what extent the constitution can still be called lawful. According to the so-called Final Act of Helsinki, the borders have to be accepted such as they existed after the Second World War in 1945. However, Crimea was only given to the Ukraine in 1954 due to the resolution of former Soviet head of state Nikita Khrushchev without asking the population of Crimea about it. The last head of state of the Soviet Union, Mikhail Gorbachev, said the following concerning this, I quote, "Now the people of Crimea have decided to correct this mistake." The final Act of Helsinki was signed on the 1st of August 1975 by 35 heads of state of Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, short OSCE, member countries. Annexation means illegally and forcefully taking control of a foreign territory. This accusation can certainly not be made against Russia. No forceful takeover happened. According to statements by police spokesmen, Crimea's separation from Ukraine only cost 2 lives. 1 member of the People's Militia and 1 Ukrainian soldier were killed by an as of yet unidentified sniper. The American Congressman Alan Grayson already denounced the groundless accusations against Putin on March 25, 2014. The Russian military, which has been stationed legally according to a lease from Ukraine from 2010, took over the role of peacekeeper in Crimea during the separation process. Grayson said, I quote, "In fact, the Russians did assist. They assisted by disarming the local Ukrainian army and navy. That's what they did. They did it virtually bloodlessly. They did that so that the Ukrainian army and navy could not interfere with the referendum that was held. That is the fact of the matter. Why are we pretending otherwise? Why are we speaking about naked aggression? Why are we speaking about stealing Crimea? Why are we speaking about bullying or the new Soviet Union or thuggery or audacious power grabbing or bully bear Putin or Cold War II?"
These were the relevant, most important facts and counter-voices to the accusations that Russia annexed Crimea. Judge for yourself if these constantly repeated accusations are even anywhere close to the truth.